My home group is Mahi Araha, BDA, 10 a.m. Sunday morning here in Auckland and Tamaki Makaurau in New Zealand. What can I tell you? Like many other people, I come to DA from another fellowship, been in long-term recovery in another fellowship for recovering addicts, and I came into, and you know, as other people has shared yesterday and other times, you know, there was transformation in my life, in every area of my life really, except the stuff with the money. Although it seemed like there was transformation taking place with the money, because what started happening for me in the recovery program is I went back to school and I got a real job, and I got to do work that I really liked and I was good at, and I was beginning to earn more money. And I had always thought that when I earned a certain amount, I didn't have a figure in my mind, but I'd always told myself, because I'd been debting for a lifetime, not necessarily, I didn't have debt really until I came, until I got a real job and I got a credit card. But anyway, I used to think that the reason that I didn't manage money well was because I wasn't earning enough. And I really thought that when I earned enough, I was going to be able to live within my means. And so, you know, life was really flourishing for me in many ways, but on the inside, I was feeling despairing about the money, because I was wrong about that. No matter what I earned or continued to earn, I always spent just a little bit more, which kept me in a place of discomfort and shame and fear and anxiety. And of course, if I woke in the wee hours of the morning, that would be the worry. That's what I'd be worrying about. Now, none of these worries stopped me from being a compulsive spender. So if I was out and about and I saw something that all of a sudden I couldn't live without, that I didn't even know existed 30 seconds before, it was just boom, like that. My heart rate accelerated, and, you know, and I was scamming and scheming of ways to get that and whatever it was at the time. And anyway, you know where I'm going with this. So I lived with that discomfort. So I was still living a double life. You know, of course, things had changed for me in many areas, and I didn't know what to do. And I started praying, you know, for please, God, help me with this. I didn't know how to talk about it with people. I didn't hear people talking about it. And anyway, I did the steps in another program, and I did start doing a 10th step. And so I've been doing a 10th step for many years. And just long story short, by the time I got to 2008, or probably before then, but I was brought to my knees, you know, really brought to my knees in terms of my relationship with money. I just couldn't seem to manage it. I'd be okay for short periods of time. And you know, I'd started talking to friends about it at this point in time. There were 2 or 3 or 4 of us who were actually having that conversation. So I did feel less shame, but I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to live. And anyway, in 2008, I was doing this workbook, 12-week workbook, and I think it's about week 8, and they said, you know, like, look in the phone book, back in the days when there were phone books, and see if there's a DA meeting and go to the meeting. And I'd been through the book a couple of times, and I had looked up at that point in time, and there was no DA meetings here in Auckland, but that 3rd time I looked and there was one. And so anyway, I went to DA, and I've been coming ever since. So thinking about the 10th step, so the 10th step for me it's something that I've done for years, and I do my 10th step in the morning, which I do a gratitude list at night, which is part of the 10th step. I always do 5 things I'm grateful for from the day every night before I go to bed, and I do my writing in the morning. I write myself right, and that's where I do the check-in. You know, I do the check-in around
5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I do a check-in around what happened yesterday, you know, like what did I do well? What did I do not so well? Do I owe amends to others? Do I owe amends to myself? Did I do a meeting? Did I talk to another person in recovery? Did I do the gratitude list? Did I hand my will and life over to a greater power? Just that kind of check-in, and then what I do as a result of that, I need to, and I have a thing where I just jot down a couple of actions, because I might need to make that phone call to someone, or I might need to do something for myself, because, oh, and I heard this thing today. Was it today in the meeting or yesterday in the meeting? Which really knocked my socks off, and I need to add it into my 10th step. Someone shared, the opening sharer shared about, because I haven't had any actual debt to anyone for several years now, many years. But then someone said yesterday about debting the future. And I thought, oh, right, because I haven't debted to anyone else. I've been solvent, but I do that thing where sometimes I take some money from there and I put it in there and I do this. And of course, I'm always going to put it back. And 99 times out of 100, it doesn't go back. And I've never, ever thought of it as debting my future. So that was a lights on moment for me yesterday. So I'm going to add that into my 10th step. And the other thing I do, and I frame it up as a letter to God. And what I do is in the morning with the pages, I just pick it up and I write today's date, Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021. And I write down my location. And then I just start it, dear God. And I started as simply as that, and started with a gratitude, really, thank you for the sleep that I got last night, kind of thing, or whatever it is, and then have that check-in from yesterday and just see how I'm going with that. And also I set my intention for the day in there, the things that I need to do and the things that could be fun to do, and some things that I can do for other people. And that the 10th step place for me is, so one of the manifestations of my debting, or whatever you want to call it, or manifestations of addictions, and it was interesting hearing that question about the steps and what they apply to. I've found that they apply to everything. So one of the manifestations for me is around this busyness or busying, and my recovery. Part of my recovery journey is to do less. So even as I'm saying it, I feel uncomfortable saying it because I don't know how to articulate it properly. But one of the things, I want to be able to do the things I can do and the kind of work that I do that I really love and enjoy. And the thing, though, that if I'm feeling vulnerable or two to go, my challenge is to come back, check in on the page, so that I find myself not, because otherwise I find myself galloping off and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then what happens there, the body keeps the score. And I know where that leads in terms of biopsychosocial, spiritual, mental unwellness. So I find the 10th step absolutely invaluable as a check-in for me. And where have I been and where am I going today? With your help, dear God. And I always end it up with a thank you. And and in there I always ask too, what wants to happen today. And so I write it to dear God, and thank you, Suzy. May we be well, may we be happy, and may we live with ease. So that's how I do my 10th. I think that's 10 minutes, is it?
You have another little minute if you want it.
Oh, okie dokie. I told you about that thing yesterday, that not being, finding out about the self-dating. And in the home group this morning, we did the visions pamphlet. And again, I've heard this before, but I hear it again, and thank goodness for repeating, because I need to hear stuff. But not being true to myself can be seen as a form of self-dating. And so what happens for me with the 10th, well, with all the steps, but with that daily 10th, I check in with myself about what's true for me. Because I just want to be who I am. I don't want to be who I think you want me to be, which is how I live my life for many, many years, and even in recovery and the other fellowship, of which it's, you know, I'm still an active member. And DA has given me so much guidance, practical guidance and support and peace of mind. And, you know, the freedom and clarity is in the numbers. Thank you.